This evening, we've now learned the man who police say shot and 3 people in Mount Washington this past weekend has also now died. So 2 of the victims were sisters. WLWT News 5's anchor Chris Jacobs here now with the update. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, hey, Cherie. So that suspected gunman was identified by police as 26-year-old Samuel Erickson. They say he himself after he shot 3 others. Erickson was initially hospitalized in critical condition. Now, we're also learning from police that Erickson knew at least one of the victims and had a romantic interest in one of them. Police say they're not investigating this as a hate crime. So this happened on Sunday afternoon on Beacon Street in Mount Washington. CPD says Erickson shot and killed Bimnette Doris, Eden Adugna, and Fiva Adugna. When police got there, Bimnette and one of the women were already dead. The other woman, along with Erickson, were taken to the hospital where they both later died. We're told Fiva and Eden were sisters who both worked as pharmacy technicians for Good Sam Hospital. TriHealth telling WLWT they were cherished members of the hospital team, and posts on social media say Bimnette worked at a store on Montana Avenue. So what led up to this shooting is still unclear. We will keep you updated as we learn more information.
Hospital TriHealth has confirmed 2 of the female victims worked here. Employees at a Sunoco gas station on the west side also confirmed the male victim recently worked there while attending IT classes. Now, how it is these victims knew each other and their relationship with the shooter, as well as a motive, that's still unclear. One neighbor, though, tells me a chilling encounter he had with the suspect moments before that shooting makes him believe it was premeditated.
He parked his car right there in front of our place and got out and circled the apartment building and kept looking for something, and then got in his car, drove away.
Doug Matthews says he saw the alleged gunman do that 2 more times Sunday afternoon.
I went over and asked him, was he okay? And he said yes, he was, he was not unfriendly. My dog went up to him and he played with the dog for a second. And I said, well, you got a friend for life. And he said, no, maybe for a minute. And then he said, you can go now.
Minutes later, gunfire erupted from that same apartment building on Beacon Street in Mount Washington.
I hear this, pop, 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 and I'm like, oh, that's weird.
Brad Lark and his girlfriend Lisa live across the street from the scene. Brad says after the initial shots, he heard muffled arguments.
It was like a parent yelling at their child in the backyard 3 yards over. It was like...
Brad says the argument was followed by more gunfire. Police confirmed 2 women ages 20 and 22 and a 27-year-old man were shooting. We're told the women are related, but it's not clear how just yet. Officials say the gunman then turned the gun on himself and is still in the hospital.
We were totally blown away because nothing like that happens around here.
Nathan Wells and his family live across the street from the crime scene that was taped off for hours.
Still a lot of confusion as to any kind of motive or why anything happened.
2 of the victims worked at TriHealth. A statement from the hospital read in part, the TriHealth family is devastated by the tragic passing of 2 cherished Good Samaritan Hospital team members. Their dedication and spirit touched everyone who worked alongside them.
A lot of sadness that the lives that were lost, they were all young, and that it happened right while I was watching. It's incredibly, I don't know, I don't have a word to describe how awful it was. Nothing does it justice.
Earlier today, police confirmed that gunman is still in critical condition at UC Medical Center. Again, a motive for this incident is still under investigation.
All right, so I need the divestors and the Africans to step to the front because I gotta hit this with one stone, right? So this is my problem. Number one, a lot of these divestors out here, again, they want to paint this narrative and these stories to the point where it gets sold to other groups of people, and inevitably they come across stuff like this and everybody's out of there. Do you think any of the divestors are going to take responsibility for that? Sending a message directly out there, getting women like this involved, and then inevitably having this be the end result? No, they're not going to do it. Are they going to do a report in the story and put it all throughout the airwaves? No, they're not. Are they going to send out a warning to other women to let them know potentially that this could very easily happen to you, your family, or somebody that you know? No, they're not. So again, when things like this happen, what I've noticed is that these divestors do not care. They just don't. And I'm generalizing. I'm talking about they do not care at all. To the Africans, I want to specifically point out how it is that you guys think that y'all are different from everybody else, and how your own people ended up getting their lives directly taken because of one person's actions. The girl decided that, she didn't want to be with him, or she didn't want to, continue whatever it is that they had going on. White boy decided to get mad. He was like, man, this is crazy. Like, you don't understand the type of guy that I am, rah, 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 all this other type of stuff, right? And he pulled up to the scene, somehow, some way, got into the house. I don't know who let him in. That's crazy by itself. But again, the three faces that you see, all of them gone. Everybody's gone. Everybody's gone. And I can promise you, nobody had any type of a weapon to defend themselves or that house. Because the end result was that, the gunman was like, enough is enough. Right? The other thing I want to sit up there and show out to a lot of people is as well as this too. The fact that this guy here, he had an option to, in a sense, affect everybody in that community. He opted not to do that. He only wanted to affect a certain demographic. Color me surprised. But yet the police want to sit up here and say that, we're not going to look at this as a hate crime. No, it's a hate crime. It is a hate crime. I'm not going to sit up there and call this a crime of passion. I'll sit up there and tell you that. Because realistically, he could have just sat up there and stopped at one person. Realistically, if we're going to sit up there and go down this whole road, right? And I'm saying this in a sense to say that if the individual here is quote unquote not racist, then obviously everybody else would not have been affected. He took out 3 people, all of which are the same color. To me, that reads and deems and looks as racist. Now, on the contrary, when you look at the reverse, when the gunman was first coming to the apartment as if he was looking for something, he had a conversation, probably a 5 or whatever minute conversation with an older guy that was there. Even, probably sat up there and pet the dog or whatever it was. And he gave the old guy a stern warning. 2 warnings, exactly. The old guy said what? He was like, well, it looked like you'd have made a friend for life, talking about his dog. He was like, nah, maybe for a few seconds. Warning number 1. And then number 2, he sat up there and told the old guy, like after the old guy asked him something, he was like, no, but you can go now. Again, that was stern warning number 2. Stern warning number 2. And I'm pretty sure that guy knew that something was up, but because he looked just like him, he was like, nah, maybe it's not what I think it is. He is probably just going through something or whatnot or whatever. Because every single time, the thing that I notice is that people like this, whenever they go off, people in their community never seem to have spider sense. It's like everything is, all the defenses are completely down, which is crazy to me. I'm like, how do you not understand that this dude is up to no good? Oh, that's right, because he looks the same as you. So it's not going to go into your mind, because as soon as you see him, you see yourself, and you would automatically determine that I'm not like that, so I know that he's not like that. Like I said, this is how a lot of stuff happens directly in the suburbs. And then you got the other folks directly up there talking about some, so we, stuff like this never happens. Okay. And then after the news story took place, they sat up there and showed around that area where they've had incidences take place and happen. But all right, like I said, people want to play these games. It didn't make any sense. Then on top of that, dealing with the story, you had a father that was clearly at the house with his son that was probably about, I want to say like 5 or 6, whatever it was. He was old enough to sit up there and walk, old enough to talk, old enough to know wrong and right. And instead of the father just coming directly out there and just giving an interview, he decided to have his son directly right there with him. That makes no sense. Again, situational awareness does not make any type of sense. There is no need for you to have your child directly on TV when you're giving an interview about a subject and a topic like this. There's no reason to sit up there and do that. There's no reason to do that. And on top of that, I want to note to people that the news did not sit up there and blur out that child's face like everybody always tells me to do. Like, Seiji, whenever you sit up there and do these stories, you need to sit up there and blur out. Y'all need to start going after these Caucasian news channels and tell them to do the exact same thing before y'all come to me. Like I said, I got a lot of grievances directly out here, but it is what it is. But again, the end result that I'm looking directly at is that how police quickly threw out the window the potentiality of race being a factor. It's almost as if they're saying that if this was 3 people of his own demographic, of his own community that look just like him, and the same scenario happened, he would have did the exact same thing. I'm not so sure about that. Because again, he had the option. I'm pretty sure during that time of day of which he showed up, when he pulled up to the scene, if there was an older gentleman directly out there, I'm promising you, there were more people out there too in that community, walking around, gardening, watering their cannons and all this other type of stuff. I'm pretty sure. But he made a choice. He made a conscious choice and a decision on who to go after and who not to go after. And again, color me surprised when the people that he went after all look a certain color. When they're all from a certain place, seemingly. Color me surprised. But we're not going to view it as, hey, all right, y'all got it. Like I said, one way or another, they will try to have their own people deemed as innocent. They're probably just going to say that he was crazy and some other type of stuff. They're just going to try to, write it off. And in both of the stories, it was like, yeah, we're looking for, a motive. The motive was that he got turned down by a woman that was melanated. He thought that he was Hercules. He thought he was the best of the best. He could not handle rejection. He decided he wanted to sit up there and just get everybody that was in the area that looked just like her. And he also took out her sister. Now, color me surprised on that. So you mean to tell me that you were like, what I'm going to do here is like, y'all look the same. So I'm going to do this here. And it's like, oh, you're here too? Y'all related, y'all family? Oh, let me get you too. Huh. And then how weak of a person he is. He was like, I don't feel like dealing with the responsibility or the fallout or even going to trial or trying to make sure that the family or whoever gets justice. I'm going to sit up there and just, do what I need to sit up there and do. That's crazy. That is diabolical. That is diabolical how that happens. You are like, to be such a coward. To be such a coward. That is incredible. That is incredible. But, like I said, it's crazy out here. So like I said, to the divestors and the Africans directly out there, yeah, y'all gotta, I need to hear from y'all. I need to hear from y'all, and I ain't trying to hear nothing. I'm not trying to see or hear no goalpost movement talking about, but oh, look, but what about these black? I ain't trying to, nah. We staying directly on a person that is in both of these photos, both of these images. I ain't trying to hear about no stats from the CDC, the FBI, the CIA, Interpol. I'm not trying to hear nothing from nothing. Stay direct focus on this. If you can't do that, please just shut up. Just please shut up. Because as I stated before, for whatever reason, it's very difficult for other people out there to take responsibility, especially when you have information that is directed, towards them. All the information, everything is directly in front of them. And people want to veer off left, do a loop-de-loop in a circle, and do infinite rotations, directly in the center for no reason. I'm like, dog, what are you doing? Just pay attention to directly what is in front of you. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. And shout out to the person who always gets, their panties in a bunch when I use directly a lot of times. Maybe it's my favorite word at this moment of time. It's happened throughout the years. It be like that. So, whatever. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.